you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Big Frogs 4x4. Today we're going to do an unboxing and assembly of the U.S. General 5-drawer industrial cart, the black version from Harbor Freight. So stay tuned. First thing we got to do is get the thing out of the packaging. That sounds a little fun, and remember, always be careful. First thing I like to do is lay out all my parts. So you want to get those open. First thing I notice, these are pretty thin gauge steel, and these corner brackets, hoping you can hear that, pretty thin. Now this whole box weighs 136 pounds, so if you can't handle it, you got to make sure you get somebody to help. Underneath the main cabinet then is your base of the cabinet. This is the part you want to start working on and assembling first. I like to use the old box and stuff to keep things from getting scratched up. So I'm going to set that on there. Then we can start assembling our feet. Alright, inside the lid comes locked, so you have to unlock it. Inside the lid comes with your instructions. And both your hood struts. They will attach onto here. Alright, in your other drawers, you're going to find your wheels and those things. You gotta have the lid open. Quick lock on the side of the drawer. Drawer will slide open, get your stuff out. And more parts in that drawer as well. And you can close the lid. One of the first things I got noticed when I pulled this handle out of the packaging is these plastic caps into the end of the handles. They don't fit in there very tight. You're probably going to end up losing them and falling out. So you might want to put a little bit of glue or something on there and glue them in. Because they're very loose. They just bump them when they fall out. The casters are like a hard plastic. I don't think they're a urethane. They don't feel like urethane. They feel like a plastic. But they are nice round, plenty wide. It should roll over any small debris in the shop, any drains you might have. They won't fall down into like a drain or something like that. One of the cheaper ones. So overall, the quality of the caster, and the swivel ones have the locks on. It only has 2 swivel and 2 stationary. Also greasable. Make sure when you assemble this, you grease it. But a little bit of slop, but not too bad for the bearings. So I'd say overall, the casters are pretty decent. Especially for $169 with a coupon, you're not going to find a toolbox in that price range. I think with this quality of steel and construction. The box actually comes with 4 keys, which I'm pretty surprised over. I thought it would only come with 2. Usually you have your main one and then usually want to keep as a spare or something, but this box actually comes with 4 keys, which I think is pretty nice, especially if you have a tendency to lose your keys. Now you have to decide which end you want to put the handle on and which end you want the swivel casters to go on. So if you put the handle over here, on this end, do you want it to swivel at the handle, or do you want it to swivel at the other end and control it from the front or the rear? Which end do you want the handle on? And that's where you want to position then your casters onto your base. Now the instructions are not very good as expected. It tells you up here about using the casters and the nuts, what numbers the nuts and stuff are. It would be nicer if it told you in instructions what sizes they are, or they can say long, short, lock nuts, flat washers, or whatever. So you gotta look at this, the numbers on here, and then flip to the back page and see which ones they're showing back here. Here's telling you washers and nuts, 12 and 13. But if you flip to the back page, 12 and 13 are 1 unit. So it's not really a flat washer and nut. It is the nuts that have the lock washer, the grip part of the washer. This washer is the one that goes to the casters. So this is part 12 and 13. These are a 13 millimeter. And I'm going to put Loctite on the threads as well. I don't want to take any chances of having to go back through later and tighten all these back down, even though they are a lock style nut. So I'm going to put Loctite on them all. Just grab one of your nuts. And bolt. Fish it up through. And screw that down on. Now put all of them in before you go around and tighten them all up. And repeat that for every caster. Now one thing to remember is these are a carriage head style bolt, which means they have a square head on the base. And you have to make sure that that square head is fully seated in your slot and that it doesn't turn. You don't want it to be sticking up and getting caught above, and then as the cart rolls around, it'll fall in its hole and then it'll be loose. So make sure that head of that bolt is fully seated into your cart slot. Okay, now's a good time to grease your casters since you don't have to get up on the ground and stuff underneath it. You do not need to pump these really full, basically just enough to coat the bearings when you spin it around. If you pump it too full of grease, it's going to get everywhere and attract dirt and stuff into your bearings. And the bearings in this are not sealed. There's no seal around them. Okay, while assembling that, I did have one issue come up. The head of one of these carriage bolts wasn't well manufactured and basically just popped apart while ratcheting it on. Now, while I'm running it on, with my Milwaukee Fuel cordless ratchet, but I'm only running it until they touch, and then I let go, and then gently tighten them by hand. This one only touched and just snapped right off. So I had no pressure on this one whatsoever, and the head of it just snapped off. All right, the upright legs do have a top and a bottom. So what I'm going to do is line up to make sure that I got the top and the bottom. If you put all four on top of each other and you level them off at this end, like set them on the floor, you should be able to see light all the way through. If you have one that's off, I'll flip this one around, put it on the bottom here. As you can see, the holes don't line up, so one of them are in wrong. Now you can see there. That way you know they're all top and bottom are together. The top of the leg is the one that has the 1 3/8, the one with the furthest distance from here to your first hole. The bottom of your uprights are the ones that are closest to the bottom, or 1 inch from the hole to the bottom. So this is the bottom, the 1 inch, and this is the top. Here you want to lock your caster so that the bottom cart doesn't roll around while you're trying to work on it. Make sure you grab your first leg, lay them so that this is the bottom, they go on the outside, and you want to put the bolts and nuts in. Do not tighten them at this point. You don't want to tighten everything down until you have it all together at this point. Again, I'm going to use Loctite on all this, because I want to make sure that none of this ever works its way loose. I have noticed as I put this together, the metal is not as nice a quality as you would get from one of the big brands such as Snap-on, Cornwell, Matco. It is definitely a thinner material. So keep that in mind when you're buying. If you're looking for something that's going to last you a lifetime, you may want to invest in a more expensive brand box. But if you're a beginner just getting started out, it's a lot more important to invest in money on good tools than it is a good box. You can use anything for 5 or 10 years if you take care of it. Once you have one started in, then you can go around and assemble the rest. Alright, your next step is to decide where do you want your shelf. You want it on the fixed caster side, or do you want it on the rotating caster side? I'm going to put mine on the fixed caster side, because this is the side I'm going to put my handle. When I'm pushing the cart, I don't want to have to worry about the tray being on the other end. I can see it be sticking out and that kind of stuff on the other side. Here I think it's going to be more protected underneath the handle side of the box. And I don't have to worry about it being bumped around or something when I'm pushing the cart and not being able to see the front of the cart. So I'm going to mount mine here. Now remember, do not tighten any of these legs or anything yet until you have the rest of this thing assembled. Okay, now you want to put the rest of your support bars on. You have 2 side ones, each side in here. And you have the bars that go on the inside here, on each side. Okay, once you have a friend, set your box into place. And you can open your lid up. Start assembling the rest of your bolts for this top. Put your braces on the inside. Once you have all your bolts in, then you can finish with going around and tightening everything once you have it all leveled and squared up. All of the upper box nylon lock nuts are a 13 millimeter. The hood struts are also a 13 millimeter lock nut. And to hold it from spinning, this is a 12 millimeter. To install the hood, you want the metal shock part down. Then you just tighten everything down. Okay, your last thing, once you have all the nuts and bolts and stuff all tightened up, is install your handle for the hood. This is made of what feels like aluminum. It comes with 2 Phillips screws. I would definitely put some Loctite in those threads as well, because I almost guarantee as much as you're going to open and close this hood, those screws are going to work their way loose, and they're going to end up losing a screw or something. So put some Loctite in there and make sure you run them in nice and snug. Don't strip them or break them, or you'll be finding yourself a new handle. Okay, there you have it. Fully assembled. My overall impression, it's okay. For $170, it's definitely worth $170. There's no way you're going to build something like this yourself for $170. $170 with a coupon, $200 usually when it's on sale. As far as comparable to a Cornwell, Matco, or one of the top trucks boxes, not near the quality. The metal, not the same quality. Keys definitely feel cheaper, much more plasticky. The lock mechanism inside is very thin. I think somebody with a pry bar in 30 seconds could pop that lid open and bend that lock right off, and it's not gonna hold up at all. The lid automatically opens as soon as it's unlocked, if you just even bump it a little bit. The catches for the drawers, although nice, you don't roll around the shop and they're not going to roll open. They are also just plain, feel like a cheesy plastic. Not sure how long they're going to last. You can see. And I've used drawers on the Cornwells and all the other ones. Everything just feels chintzier, a lot cheaper, a lot cheesier. I would recommend this for somebody who's just starting out. Invest in good tools. Not all your money into a toolbox. This is a good beginner box. Well taken care of. If you're good with your equipment, keep everything lubricated and greased. Don't beat it around. I think you could get a lot of life, a lot of years out of this. Pay off all your main tools first, then invest in a better box. Again, like I said, the plastic inserts for the end of the handle, they're crap. They don't even fit in there tight. So if you're going to keep them in there, you probably glue them in. Might be a good hiding place for something. You want to hide some money or keep something in there, but you might have a hard time getting it back out. The tray's pretty sturdy. It feels pretty solid. The hardware is really, it's not very good hardware. But it rolls fine. It feels solid. It's not rickety. I also don't have any weight in it yet, so we'll have to see how it rolls with weight. But yes, I'd recommend it for $179 for a do-it-yourselfer or someone just starting out in the field. Once you're ready for a regular box, I would definitely think about upgrading to a Cornwell, one Matco, Mac, Snap-on, any of those bigger box truck boxes. But yeah, so far I'd say it's a pretty good box. I'll give you a review the more I use it for the job. As always, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to my videos, and God bless.